Old man. Bike lights. So to start this video this week, I figured I'd give a quick shout out to Jen Jacobs from Old Man Fat Bike, who commented on my last video, which was about the Salsa, which is down here. My fat bike, the 2017 Salsa Mark Carbon versus the 2018 version, where I was saying that it's actually better to go buy a 2017 version because it's actually a much better spec than the 2018 version. So peace, brother, thank you for the comment. I loved your channel, I watched all of it. Today we're talking about bike lights. Lezyne bike lights specifically, because they're the ones I use. And this is just about commuting bike lights and some other things. So, two things. One, in the link of the video description, in the video description there'll be a link to Old Man Fat Bike, which is a great channel. You should really watch it. It's just a guy mucking around in his fat bike, having fun, and it's really well shot, and it's, you know, it's not technical, but it's really fun, and everyone should go watch it. It's really nice. He has more subscribers than me, and we've been doing Climbing Whole Roof for 10 years, and we have no subscribers. The other thing is, the start of this video is going to be a bit of a rant, a little bit about cyclists and lights. Now, I'll do this now before I start talking about the lights. Yesterday I spent a bunch of time sitting on a street corner in the dark watching people ride their bikes past me, and 95% of them didn't have lights, or didn't actually have good lights. This isn't the reason why I'm doing this review on the lights. I'm doing it because I just bought some new lights because I wanted some new lights, and because I read something about flashing lights don't allow the driver to actually see the depth, the distance of where you are, and then a solid light doesn't really wake them up. So it's kind of like, hey, like the rant's pretty much over. It's like, please, buy good lights, get some. The ones I'm about to review are very good, and there's two sets of lights, not one. But remember one thing, is a flashing crappy LED light on the back of your bike is great. Actually, there's a number of things, but the crappy LED on the back of your bike that's, you know, not very bright is shit. But it allows drivers to actually see you if it's bright enough. The best thing to have is a slow pulsing light on the back of your bike, and a solid light as well. The other thing I noticed yesterday with cyclists is most people, they have a front light but no rear light. So yay, congratulations, you win a Darwin Award, you can see where you're going. Unfortunately, it means that a driver can't see you because you don't have a light on the back. Now, the law specifically in Montreal says you need reflectors on your wheels and on your pedals. I don't have any of those, so technically I'm riding illegally, and I have been for years. In fact, when I bought the Black Spire pedals for my fat bike, they don't come with reflectors, and they don't even come with places for reflectors. So that's an interesting conundrum, like someone selling something that's actually technically illegal, but you know, everyone does that, it's fine. So I don't have reflectors on my bike. I actually remove them from my bikes when I buy them, but I do run with a solid front light, a solid backlight, a flashing backlight, and a flashing front light as well. So I have the best of both worlds, and it seems like it's overkill, but it's your life, and you know, drivers can't see you. If drivers can't see you, they're going to hit you. And a lot of people were riding around last night in black as well. They weren't wearing reflective. When I go out, you know, I've got a light on my helmet here, which does a really good job, and it's super cheap, and you can do flashy modes and whatever else. I generally have this on, flashing, when I'm riding, and it's dirt cheap. I think it was like $10, and you have to replace the batteries because it's not USB rechargeable, and that sucks. But I have a light on my helmet, two lights on the front, and two lights on the rear, and that's what is the basics you need for cycle safety when you're riding around, even when you're on a cycle path. Now, the rant's over. Let's get to the review with some Lezyne lights. Right, it's review time. what you can see behind me is a Dyno EMD 9. It's a 29-inch bike, which is a contention for wheel size and whatever else, and it's a hardtail. It's a custom build that I built myself, and what you're going to notice is a number of really quite simple things. There's a light here, a light here, and if you go all the way over to the back, there's a light here, here, and here. Yes, I have 3 lights on the back, and let me explain a couple of things. I have 3 lights on the back because this one, which I'm not actually reviewing, but it's my backup safety light, is a Blackburn. I don't know which Blackburn light this is, and I'm not talking about it. The reason why this light is on my bike is because it does this. It does white and red. So you can put it on the front of your bike or the back of your bike. It does solid white, it also does solid red, and it's also USB chargeable. It's from Blackburn, it's a really good light, it's my backup super safety light. It's always on my bike, or it's always in my bag. I have it all of the time. You know, it has a pretty good clip, rubber clip around the back. It does last a long time. I've only charged this once in a very long time, and it works really well. But I don't want to talk about the Blackburn light. I'll figure out what it's called and I'll put it up on screen for you. But this is a really great backup light because it does both white and it does red, it does solid, and it does pulsing for both. So this is a really good light, and if I remember, it was really cheap. I believe the price is here. I think I got it off of eBay, so it was probably cheaper. Now, we're talking about 2 sets of lights from Lezyne. There's 2 sets of lights. Ooh, must have got muddy yesterday. 2 sets of lights from Lezyne. There's the Hectos, the Hecto drives, which are these little guys right here, front and rear, and then there's the Femto front and rear, which are these ones. Now, you'll notice there's a massive difference. These take 2 CR2032 batteries each, which are those small round flat batteries, and these are my flashing lights. These guys are USB chargeable, and I just got them the other day, and these are my solid lights. Now, first thing, most of my commuting is done on cycle paths or urban streets. I do go ride cross country, and I do go ride my fat bike. So what I do is I have these lights, and because they're easy to put on and off, I actually switch them between my 2 bikes, or actually 3 bikes. I switch them between, so I have one set of lights for 3 bikes. I do have big, really big proper I'm going cross countrying lights that basically just blind everyone, which I don't use those on the street because I don't want to blind people. And as I'm riding on cycle paths, and one of the cycle paths is a little bit dark, but I don't need anything that hardcore. So we'll talk about the Femtos first, and we'll just bang through the features on these. Like I said, Femto, we know this aluminium CNC'd. They're waterproof and water resistant. I used these on my fat bike for an entire, well, actually a couple of years. These are, I think these are maybe like 2014, 2015 when I picked them up. You have to hold them for 2 seconds to turn them on, but they're actually quite good. You've got a slow flash, a fast flash, and if you get it right, an even faster flash, and solid. So they do have a bunch of modes on them, and I have to look at some numbers. The rear is exactly the same. It's hold for 2 seconds, flash, 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 solid. I don't want to run my batteries down because they cost me money. Now, they have these nice little rubber mounts on them, so you can clip them round your seat post or your handlebars. Really quite nice, but they've also got a nice little clip on them, so you can actually clip them onto something. So when I have my little gear bag on the back of my bike, I ignore the rubber thing. I just clip it straight onto the back and it goes. And also, when I'm walking around at night with my courier bag or anything else, I either use the Blackburn light and I clip it to my bag. So when I'm walking around, I can be seen, but I have it at a very slow flash, because you don't really need it when you're walking on sidewalks. Most cars don't mount the sidewalk and take you out. They're really good lights. The front is 15 lumens and the rear is 7 lumens. They're also $24.99 and they're CNC aluminium made, and I've used them for years and they're really great. This is the first time I've actually changed the batteries on them, because they actually run out. Now, in a proper world, I'd have 2 sets of the Hecto drives, and I will probably pick up another set of the Hecto drives so I can actually have something that's USB chargeable, because buying batteries, it took me a couple of stores to find the batteries for these. And I'll keep these as my ultimate backup lights in my bag with my Blackburn light. But these for me are going to be backup lights, but for right now they're my flashing lights to wake up and show drivers where I am. Like I said, I had to do some research into lumens, and lumens is really interesting. Lumens, LM, is the measure of total amount of visible light to the human eye. Okay, so basically the higher the lumen, the brighter it is, but it doesn't account for distance. Distance is an entirely different thing. But lumens is in every direction, not unidirectional in a straight line, whereas a light bulb is more, you either have it wide or you have it straight, much like headlights. So this is 15 lumens, the front, and the rear is 7. Now, if you had 2 sets of these, and you're commuting, and it's cheap, so it costs you like less than 50 bucks, you're pretty good. You don't have much forward visibility with this light at all, unless you're in completely dark, in a completely dark area. Then this is actually a not bad front light, but you're not seeing very far in front of you. Maybe only a couple of meters. If you're riding cross country really fast, on I have with this light, but in like complete darkness, it's all right. But stuff's going to jump out at you, and it's not the best on the planet. But like I said, CNC machined. Let the camera focus. Whoop. CNC machined. All of this is CNC'd, and then you just unscrew it. The batteries are in here, and this has got a little rubber grommet on it. And I ride through puddles. I don't ride around puddles. I actively go through puddles, and these have lasted 2 years, and they've done a really, really, really good job. And that's why I went and bought these. This is why I bought the Hecto drives, because I like the other small Femto lights so much. I'm like, I'm going to stay with the brand. I've had a bunch of Blackburn fleas that are USB chargeable and everything else, but I seem to have lost them somewhere. I don't know where they are. I found one the other day and I can't find the charger for it, so it's sitting in a drawer somewhere. So these are the Hectos. The front is 50 lumens, the rear is 15 lumens. Now, if you look at the front on the other ones, it's 15. This is much brighter, like much brighter. And it's hard to tell on camera, but they're actually much brighter. And then, yeah, they have a bunch of different modes. They have 2 flashes, which is 1. Apparently I can't work these. They have a slow flash as well. So you got a fairly fast flash and a slow flash. But these are my solid lights. This is what I actually use to actually ride like this. Now these do actually give quite a good range. At least I'm saying around 10 meters, which is much better than the other ones. So they do give me a little bit of forward visibility on the trail, because I angle these down to see where I'm going and see what's coming up. And they do work quite well. They're actually much bigger than the other guys. This is one guy, and this is the other one. They're much bigger, but they're also much brighter at the same time. I believe the Femtos, the small ones, weigh 31 grams, and these weigh for the pair 67 grams. So they're not exactly they're not exactly heavy, and the beautiful thing is, if you want to take off the cases that they come with, you can actually use it as a little torch if you need to use it as a torch. But they're actually got some really quite nice little kind of, okay, I put this back in, donk, done. And then the rear light gives you the same thing. For timing, flashing is 11.5 hours off of a charge. Blast is 2 hours and 2.5. Economy at half for the front would be like 25 lumens. It's 5 hours, and at the pulse, it's actually a little bit brighter and actually go for 10 hours, which isn't actually that bad when you think about it. But the reason, and if you actually look at the rear actually has completely different times. I think it has, the front light in economy has 5 hours. In flash it has 10. The rear in flash has 11.5 hours, which is interesting because, you know, well, this is not as bright as the front, so yeah, of course it's going to last longer. So the rear lasts longer than the front. But the reason why, oh, by the way, the case on the rear light is like this, because it goes on your seat post and then you just wrap this around. Like this, it's the same connection system as the other one, except this actually has a scoop out for your seat post, and you put it in, knock it on, away you go. Now, the reason why I got these is because they're a little bit old and you can get them on eBay for next to no money. I believe I got them for $40 Canadian, including shipping, whereas if you bought them when they were brand new, they were $89.95 or something. But the reason for these is, again, CNC case, really good build quality, but it's the back cap that's the kicker. You take them off, and here's a picture. These guys are, you just plug them into a USB block and they charge really quite quickly. Both lights are USB chargeable. You don't have to worry about losing the cable because there is no cable. You just plug it into your computer and let it charge, which is the best thing about these lights. I've had USB chargeable lights a bunch of times, and up here on the wall I have a whole bunch of USB cables, but some of them use fairly specific cables, and sometimes you just can't find it and you can't charge your lights. So it's pretty good. Now, when these guys are charging, it'll flash green. So when you plug them in, they'll flash green. This little light here is actually an LED indicator as well. On both lights they have them. It'll flash green when it's charging, and when they're fully charged, it will be solid green. Now, when you're riding, the button lights up, which is nice. So I'll just fire this one up. You can see very lightly there's a green light, and you know, this isn't the best lighting for this, but you can see there's a green light. Now, what happens is green means you've got 100%. Green and red means you're at 50% charge. Red means you're at 10% charge, and when it flashes red, it means you're at 5% charge. So they actually have nice inbuilt indicators to tell you to go charge your lights, which is really nice because that's actually what you need. But you know, I can see about 10 meters in front of me of this. It highlights other runners, and here's a quick video of last night where I was just sitting at the side of the road watching people. You can see some people with lights, some people without lights, and you can see the people without lights are basically just ghosts and they just pop up on you. And I was riding last night in quite dark conditions at night because it's winter. This light does actually allow me to see people up to a fairly good distance, and there were runners that were wearing nothing but black because they're stealth ninjas, and there were cyclists that had no lights that were coming from work wearing nothing but black, which is the world's stupidest colour to wear. It may be slimming, but it's dangerous, not just for you but for me, because if I can't see you, then I can't avoid you. So please invest in some lights. I've had these for 2 weeks, and they're actually really, really good lights. You know, the Hecto and the Femto, they're cheap lights. Like, they're cheaper than some of the Blackburn stuff by a long distance. They're cheaper than my big lights that I use for when I'm riding cross country at night. But they're really good bomb-proof lights, and there's not much else to say. It's like, these lights, the Femto and the Hecto, are really good lights for commuting. For riding cross country or anything else, no. Go buy a bigger set of lights, spend more money, and actually get something. But please buy. If you can, I'd recommend buying 2 sets of these lights, by 2 sets. One, so you've got a solid light on the front and rear, and a flashing light on the front and rear, so you get the best of both worlds. And you're not buying batteries, all you're doing is plugging them into a USB charger and then just charging away. Like, this isn't going to be a very, very long review. Like, normally I talk for like 12 hours about everything, but this time I don't need to. I've bought these lights, I love them, they're very, very good lights, and if I had more money, or YouTube paid me some money and I had some subscribers, then I'd probably go buy some more bike lights, because, you know, we're not sponsored, we're not anything. This is all my money and stuff that I use on a daily basis. I'd love to get some of the bigger Lezyne lights, I really would, but I just can't afford it, and I can't justify the expense at all, which really sucks, but that's life. But there's a link to Lezyne lights in the description, and you can go through, and there's some really good options. There's some really nice lights out there, and there's some really good, like, these guys are a good quality product. You know, I love Blackburn. I've had their lights for years and years, and like I said, my other light is actually a Blackburn, but that's my emergency backup. I need a light, and it lasts a good long time. But these are cheaper, and I find them to be a better quality than Blackburn. Sorry, Blackburn, that's life. But Lezyne lights, Hecto and Femto, go buy them. It's going to cost you less than $100, way less than $100, and you'll be much safer on your bike. And I'll thank you for doing it. Ride safe. You all stay beautiful. Peace.